Hello, this is a video to help walk you through analyzing online magazines. For this class, we are analyzing we have a choice to analyze two magazines, Gastronomica and Honest Cooking. So I want to walk you through both of them to show how we can start pulling out examples of the magazine so we can identify its purpose and its audience. So first, we'll go to the Gastronomica website. This link will take you there. Gastronomica is .org. It's done through a kind of simple web-based program. Doesn't look super fancy, and these are things that you can start to look at. We might say that Gastronomica is more of a print magazine, but they put their issues online. So as we get to their main website, we look at the issues. The winter volume 20, number 4, so winter 2020. So it's published 4 times a year. It's a quarterly, as we would call it. It's not available online, but if you scroll down, you'll get to volume 20, number 3, so fall 2020. So you'll be able to read these articles online, and you can see it's laid out just like a regular journal that you would read. So it has a letter from the editor, sections from the kitchen, from the past, from the table, and from the community, from the market. So it's fairly long. From our foodways, and then reviews. So a lot of things. If we go down and we look at these, we can see some of these have different sections. So language, myth-making, transmission, changing tradition. So each issue seems to have a purpose. To figure out what that purpose is, you can click on the editor's letter. And this letter from the editor will talk about kind of the focus of this issue. You can see it's quite lengthy, which will tell you that substance matters. So we go back, we look at an article. I'm going to go up to here. Buy an Orange from the Market by Emily Monaco. So it's only available as a PDF. So in your analysis, you can talk about this as well. How is this experience of reading this? So this is a scan of the article. We're not able to go through the pages, but you can download the PDF. So this is going to take some steps. We can see, it's only one page, never mind. Obviously, I have not looked at this magazine myself. Social eating, you can click on this. This is talking about the pandemic. We can see the article again. If we download the PDF, how much do we get? Takes a moment because it has to send this to another link. And again, these are things you can talk about in your experience for analyzing. You might say that it's a web-based version of the print magazine. So it takes some time. You have to really be dedicated. So we can go through social eating. This says some basic ideas. So April 15th, this person is going through Belgium, Mexico City. So different states, or different areas, not states. And then we have a few pictures. This is what you would see in the print magazine. And this will help understand your purpose. So lots of high quality pictures, or maybe phone quality pictures, I don't even know. And that's going to help you kind of understand what is going on. What are these stories doing, and what are they showing us? So we go back, other things, recipe for wild dandelion. So there's recipes in here, some tales. So you'd have to look through each of these and start to figure out who's reading this. If we look at just who these authors are, they're people from all over the place. So this seems to be a very worldly magazine. We see it's a journal for food studies. It's not a magazine. We can go to the About section, which is kind of cool. So read about it. It's from the University of California Press, so it's fairly academic. Leading food studies. So that's going to tell you a lot about this magazine. And we can start to put together a statement of analysis about this. We might say Gastronomica, Journal for Food Studies, is a very intellectual journal designed for people who are interested in food around the world, culinary arts, and just looking at current issues around food. Its website is very, I don't know what to say, well produced, but mimics the print magazine or the print journal in a way that makes it easy to navigate and follow, but also not the easiest experience. This shows that readers are very serious. They're looking for specific articles. This is not a journal just to browse and say, oh, that looks cool. This is a journal for people who want to know more about food and how food affects us around the world. So something like that. So as we scroll through all these things, these different reviews. So these are reviews of books. That would tell us that people who are reading this journal are also reading about food. So these people are really interested in food. So that's Gastronomica. That would be a statement you would look at, and you'd want to look at all these different links, and these are all going to tell you certain things about who's reading it, who's writing it, what their purpose is. Next, we can go to Honest Cooking, which I have a link here. I've not looked at this one yet either, but here we have, it's more like a regular website. If we kind of just scroll through it, we can see there's advertisements, different sections. So drink, food, how to cook with beer, lots of desserts, and then it'll say show more posts. But lots more pictures than articles, which tells us, we're interested in prettiness and the quality. So recent read, so let's say, these are all drinks. What does that tell us? A lot more about drinks. But let's say this, the upgraded Hawaiian fare in NYC's East Village. So this looks like to be a review of a restaurant. And so we have the author and then the article. So we're going to have some pictures. It's going to tell us this is a restaurant review, which you've written, so you kind of understand a little bit of what's trying to happen. So a lot of pictures. We're going to get the understanding of the experience. So what does that tell us about it? We can go over here, recipes, travel, drinks, and shop. So those are the sections. So it's a lot more like a consumer magazine as opposed to an academic magazine like Gastronomica was. So here are the recipes. Make you a master cookie maker. That sounds awesome. Who's going to be reading this? Somebody who wants to make better cookies. Looking at comparing cookies to a New York City restaurant. So some general tips. We haven't got. Where are the recipes? Huh. Oh, baking tips. I'm sorry. This isn't a recipe, but just baking tips, right? So what is it telling us to do? But not an actual recipe. But these are parts of your experience. So saffron risotto, B. Tolman's best Dover sole. I mean, are these things that you are eating? Are you eating risotto with saffron? Are you eating lobster ravioli and sole? Making creme brulee? Who is eating this sort of stuff? This is not typical Midwestern fare, that's for sure. So, caviar. All right, so this is fancy, holy moly, fancy stuff that we wouldn't really be eating, right? Who's reading this magazine? What is their purpose? Next, we can look at things like the travel section. Talk about how the interface of this magazine works. Is it easy to go through? White Truffle Festival. We're all gearing up to go to the White Truffle Festival. Hawaiian Fair in NYC's East Village. Michelin star. Those are like 5-star restaurants. So this looks like it's centered around big cities. Las Vegas, New York City, somewhere in New England. Italy. So people who are traveling, but it's traveling with food. We're not getting culinary travel. So we're not really getting like, hey, we went to this town in Italy. Here's what it was like. It's going somewhere and experiencing the culture through food. Then we have the drinks, and then there's shopping. What's the shopping, right? Why would that be included in a magazine? You can get some spices. That's kind of cool. So not only is this magazine providing you information and tips, but it's providing you the means by which you can improve your cooking. So lots of cool things in here. Wow. I might have to come back to this. Let us see if there's an about section. I don't know. So as you scroll through, now we have all these sections up here. go back to the main page. I just clicked on Honest Cooking. So what will we say is the purpose of this magazine? This purpose is to give readers a exceptionally high-end view of food and travel. So it looks like, I don't know, these are top articles of the week, but there's not an about section, is there? So usually we'd have to try to see if we can find anything, but I'm not seeing anything that's an about the magazine. We don't know who publishes it or where. I don't know if that would be into Facebook or not. This keeps taking us back to the home page. You want to try to find out who's publishing it and who, what's their mission statement. It doesn't look like we have a mission statement anywhere. That's kind of problematic for me. But, who are these authors? Telling you how long it's taking to read. So this is a very flashy experience. You can definitely kind of scroll through these things. Pictures are good. So we might say this is a magazine for foodies, people who travel and have money to spend on food. This is definitely a wealthy person's magazine, I would say. The goal is to show high-end food, drinks, and ingredients. But we don't know much else about it. And those are things that you can talk about in your analysis, is what information don't you know? Like, who are these people? So we might look at this featured. So here we have people with crazy names. Everybody has crazy names. Doesn't really tell us. Okay, so you can look at the person, see what else they've written about. But we are not getting anything about the magazine. So these are definitely good things for us to look at. This is an interesting magazine. I've never used this one before, but definitely go through it and look at it. So you have the choice of two different web magazines to look at, or in your analysis you can select a magazine that you would have at home. But I'd like us to look at similar magazines, so it gives us something to talk about in class. But those are some ways you can start to look at the magazines, the online magazines, start pulling out information to make a statement of analysis. I hope this is helpful, and if you have questions, please let me know.